Make your way inside the house. Be discreet. Follow the lights. They will lead you to the documents. Over. It's on the table, straight in front of you. Al-Assad is the president of Syria. He assumed office in 2000. Although democratically elected, his presidency arose suspicion as he adopts the office right after his father's death. Some people accuse him of being nothing more than a hereditary dictator. There are multiple actors at play in Syria, one of which is the Free Syrian Army, bloodthirsty, unorganized, and radical. The next one is the kicker, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, religious fanatics. Some call them the new Nazis. Ah, yes, your run-of-the-mill government loyalists. Trained and loyal, these men fight for a Syria that the Assads have built. Courtesy of our good friend Vlad, the armed forces of the Russian Federation. Well trained, funded, equipped, experienced, and battle-hardened. And finally, the supposed good guys, the coalition, pro-American Western nations, the ones that Russia responded to by active deployment. So far, a good 420,000 people have died in this war. And why? Well, the coalition believes that Assad was using weapons of war, white phosphorus bombs to be specific, on civilians. Now, ironically, the UN carried out an independent investigation into this whole debacle. Turns out that the weapons Assad supposedly used on his civilians could not have been Syrian. Russia put out a statement saying that there's zero evidence that Bashar al-Assad used weapons of war on civilians. The Chinese support this statement, and so does Iran. I guess the real question for now is, can we really trust the coalition? Were there WMDs in Iraq? Was bin Laden hiding in Afghanistan? What exactly did Gaddafi do? It seems that the political class of the Western world doesn't really care about the truth. They have a little policy, and it seems to be that all nationalists must hang. Guilty or not, they will attempt to take down Assad. It's just a matter of pretext. Let's compare the whole Assad situation with an actual historical genocide. Let's compare it to Srebrenica. Srebrenica was surrounded by physical and archaeological evidence, as well as consistent testimonies and reports. Thousands of innocents were intentionally murdered. There is no evidence that anything similar to this happened in Syria, as far as we know. We see no archaeological evidence and no consistent testimonies, Srebrenica saw the people responsible convicted with incriminating evidence. But for Assad, we see no evidence. Keep one thing in mind. In Syria, there are no clean hands. But we need to be specific with our definitions. Assad did not commit a genocide. His regime can, however, be accused of human rights violations. But first, we need a fair trial. Don't let Iraq happen again.
In conclusion, there is no evidence that Bashar al-Assad, the current legitimate president of Syria, has committed a genocide. His regime can, however, be accused of human rights violations. But before a conclusion is reached, a proper inquiry must be done. However, in order for this inquiry to take place in a non-partial environment, Syria must first be stabilized.